Hey y'all, welcome to the Dummies Cauldron, and we will begin soon. Silly. All right, y'all. Whew. Let me see this real quick. Okay, guys. So we're going to be talking about the new moon in Virgo. Um, Hold on. Okay. Yeah, so we'll be talking about the new moon in Virgo. Any questions y'all have on um planetary planning, how to come up with a schedule, and I will be using some anybody who wants to volunteer and put their chart up as tribute. They can. Hopefully everyone gets like a pen and pencil, and we will try to work it through so I can have an example of um how to actually do it. So some people will be get lucky and have some customizable things for their chart, but I do need people to volunteer. I know last week we talked about each day of the week and what each day means. Hey, Shango. But I do need people to volunteer for the chat so that way you guys can have examples of how to do it. So if anybody is not scary, I know some of y'all are not scary about telling me your information or using your charts as examples. If you're not scary, I will use y'all charts to help other people understand how to do it. Now it won't be verbatim because everyone is born in different places in different ways. But hey, Dion. But if anyone wants to put their chart up as tribute and has been following directions about at least trying to pay attention to what has been going on a weekly basis, we can do it. Hey, Topaz, if you haven't or you have poor memory, it can be a bit hard because you have to try to get a general feel or general gist of it. But again, if anyone wants to, let me know. Hey, Jim. So yeah, I do have the slideshow up. Also, I did forget to post last week's notes up on Patreon, so I'll remember to post all of it up on Patreon. These slides, last week's slides, and everything else. So yeah, just let me know if anyone wants to just go and say, "Oh, okay, be safe, Topaz. You you may use my chart." Okay, so yeah, like if anyone wants to use their stuff as tribute, because it makes it easier to do the follow alongs and stuff like that. Well, first of all, just the fact that you're doing for Topaz that today's a Thursday and it deals with like integrating and wisdom or trying to integrate wisdom or uniting any type of learned responses or memory, which is basically education. That is already kind of like a good idea to do that on a Thursday anyway, for at least Topaz. But yeah, we'll get started and then we'll start to use some people as an example and why I feel like y'all need to be doing it soon, because just how these moons are set up, it's just really crazy. So, all right. So between today and tomorrow is the new moon in Virgo, and we talked about last week how Virgo is a discriminating placement, and its whole point is refinement, its taste, its discernment. It wants to be of use in these types of ways for making things dense, making things pure, and analyzing information. That's its objective goal. Of course, any zodiac sign could be spun or done in a way that isn't beneficial or could be hurtful. But that's the whole point of it. So this new moon is in Virgo. It does make an aspect to my moon is in Virgo. Okay. So yeah, it does make an aspect to Pisces. That's how I know Topaz is off the hook, but I'm gonna let it go. But it does make an aspect to Pisces and Neptune, and right now Neptune is retrograded, and Neptune does the Pisces does the exact opposite. So Pisces is not about discrimination. It's about integrating things or uniting things, just like Sagittarius. It's about freedom, and it's about making things whole. So you see where they already like, no, I don't agree. Now technically this is some type of polarity you would usually see during a full moon, but to be honest, let's go. Like we're already here, so it is curious. Actually, I think the next full moon wouldn't even be in Pisces. It actually will be in Aries. So that's a whole different thing, because sometimes the concession rate, like when you have a new moon, and usually the full moon that's following it in like 14 days is in the sister sign or the opposing sign. But then you get times where like this month coming up, it won't be. So, but yes, it's happening this September between today and tomorrow, depending on your location. The sun and moon are conjunct. That means they're in the same degree. This degree will be 21 degrees of Virgo. So wherever you have Virgo in your chart and you can find 21 degrees, if you can't find 21 degrees, it's okay. I did do it based off of people rising signs, and it will be in the back of the slideshow, and it will be like a brief overview of it. I will also be talking about any medical things or health things that y'all can do to help mitigate it, because I have noticed there were certain medical or health implications and possibly some herbs or diet routines that people can try, or diet type of things that people can try if y'all are open to it. Again, I'm not a doctor. I just do herbs and I do medical astrology. If you are taking something, please make sure it's not going to interact with any of the foods that I suggest, any of the herbs that I suggest, and it's actually feasible for you to do, because I do not want y'all coming back down bad. So if you can't do it, it's okay, but that's fine. You can use, okay, great. So many volunteers. Great. And hopefully everybody, when I start to comb through each and one of yours, because this actually gives us a lot of diversity to work through. When I start to do it, please, like, if you want to take notes and stuff like that, feel welcome to do it, because it actually shows you how each person doing the planning, they're not going to be the same. Y'all all in different locations. Y'all have different birthdays. Y'all have different sun, moon, rising placements and stuff like that. But feel free to take notes. But yeah, so this will be in the same degree in Virgo. So if you know where you have Virgo in a late degree in your house placement, this will be perfect. So usually new moons are about identity and ego, which are moved to the focus because the sun and the moon are increased in their efforts. So we talked about how the sun is your ego and your identity and how you see yourself, or your inner vision. We talked about that maybe like 2 weeks ago on those slideshows, if you want to go back and look at those streams, because the slides are still in those streams if you want to take notes or look at it. The people, again, who will have Patreon, they can just download the slides. But it's about their inner vision, and the moon is about emotional conditioning, memory that we have from how we were raised or lived experiences. That's how we get that. But what it does, a new moon, it literally pulls the energy very tightly together. It pulls these two planetary bodies together in one sign in one house. Usually, there's some rare things, but usually it's in one sign and one house. And so now we have two different planets, or in this case the greater lights or the luminaries, pushing together to create a unified force, which is unique in its own ability, because the sun is about vitality, it is about sight, it is about vision, it's about who we are at our core. The moon is about emotion, memories, habits, things that we are used to, things that we are comfortable with, emotional reactionary responses, how we are raised. So that's the difference. And so you see how I view myself, how I'm acting on a conscious level versus, how I'm used to acting unconsciously without thought. That's why your moon is where you find comfort. It's a place that helps you to find comfort. Usually feminine signs or feminine planets are usually associated with forms of comfort, or where we're comfortable. It doesn't have a masculine principle that pushes the idea that you behave or you be something conscientiously on a different level. That is a masculine, usually a masculine concept. Okay, so the problem is these two stars are, well, these two planets are going to aspect two fixed stars. One of them is called Denebola and the other one is called Coma Berenices. The problem with the first one deals with criticism, perseverance, control, lack of imagination, honors, undesirable associates, mental illness, natural disasters, catastrophes. Now, I don't suspect that everyone is going to hit all of these placements because, again, depending what you have in your chart, everyone is not going to hit that. Everyone is not going to have this experience. I don't expect it. But can we have random haters? Because remember, we talked about how Mercury was in retrograde and Mercury is the ruler of Virgo. And so we can have naturally conditioned behavior where we unconsciously think or behave in certain ways, and we conscientiously act out certain ways where we want to discriminate, we want to refine who we are, we want to work at something, we want to, whether it's like our health, whether it's our mental health, whether different forms of things like that, work being of use and being of service. Well, this will require, depending where it is, this will require you to just give yourself criticism for improvement, but this can also require other people to give you criticism. And depending how it's aspected in your own chart and what's going on right now, there can be some resistance maybe to the criticism, or some of the people, because there's also undesirable associates, really don't have your back. And this is what we talk about new plans, but also you can have some haters and criticism. And, you know, criticism can go either way. And it really depends. The second star with Karma, it says eye problems, but I'm gonna be quite frank, it's actually beneficial. So I guess you could say it's lucky blindness. I had put it in the end of the slideshow last week. Like, it's almost like a lucky or fortunate blindness of, you know, what you see and what you're able to see, which is interesting because we talked about before how the sun and the moon deals with eyes or vision, and particularly different eyes based off of gender, but also what you're seeing. So solar sight versus lunar sight are not the same thing. Eye problems, I'm going to the eye doctor tomorrow for my prescriptions. Well, good luck. You know, that's definitely a Virgo, Pisces, and then the way these fixed stars are lined up to hit them, it definitely makes sense for you to be able to go, especially since both Virgo and Pisces kind of rule like medical things, illnesses, sickness. That's why we're going to briefly go, we're going to talk about some health things that y'all can do, but again, you know, not a doctor, don't be silly. So yeah, that's the main gist of what it will be doing while in Virgo and just the general vibe of it. And so Virgo really deals with skill and trying to get things right, analyzing, splitting, and purging. And so depending where you have it, you're going to want to purge or to get things right or to break things down to reassemble it. Just briefly, this could deal with like nervous issues, breathing issues, digestion. Because you do see Saturn and Neptune and all these planets kind of in play, I've also seen people have poor circulation, weak livers, like a under functioning liver, or also just being unreasonable, which I've seen too. I've seen people be unreasonable, but to be quite honest, if someone has liver problems, they can be unreasonable because of what the liver does for cognitive ability, you know. So people can be unreasonable or kind of out of control when the liver goes up and it actually needs to be, you know, purged somewhere. Okay. Also, guys, feel free to ask questions. So, planetary players, this is how we'll describe the energy. The sun is vision, who we are at our core, vitality, and also things that deal with heredity, you know, whether it's like it usually leans farther, like male leaning, because the sun is a male leaning planet. The moon deals with cycles, habits, eating, emotions, and memories, conditioning. So how we were raised, our family, women. Neptune, which is opposing both of these, which means that they're at 180-degree angle. So it's going to add some tension. It's going to require you to balance something, or something feels at odds, and it's going to require you to have to work to integrate the energy. Luckily, there is kind of like a grand kite, which is a big configuration with Pluto, Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune. So it does kind of slow down on the opposition with whatever you've learned before in your transformation, but it does put up some resistance. Neptune deals with unity, healing, spirituality, and art, and basically anything that's on a deep soulful level. So the reason why unity, healing, spirituality, and art can be put under Neptune is because there's a soul piercing or soul shattering dynamic that Neptune wants to experience. But right now, Neptune is retrograded, so people can have issues with illnesses, healing, unifying, issues with spirituality, issues with creativity. They might not come as easy, or it might be too dense, it might be too overwhelming to experience in certain ways. Pisces deals with unity and emotional merging. And so what I have seen is, with Pisces, sometimes because of how the signs are set up, where it kind of, if you know what the glyph looks like, it's two semicircles that has like a line through it, which deals with having to defend yourself, but also having to deal with things that are able to permeate the shield. So Pisces low-key does rule one of like the better fighting signs. Like, it's actually, there has an exaltation in Mars, and maybe I'll talk about how there can be a lot of great fighters or military actions low-key under Pisces, or a lot of good cooks, but really depends. Virgo again deals with discrimination, skill, and refinement. So Neptune, we talked about it last week, has the fixed stars of Merkab and Sheet. So this deals with violence, honors, riches, the star of sorrow, literary and legal problems, accidents. It deals with imprisonment, murder, suicide, drowning, and extreme misfortune. Again, I don't suspect everyone is going to knock all of these off, but again, when we're dealing with undesirable associates and maybe a resistance, like we talked about before, with a lack of imagination and a lack of seeing things clearly, we could be met with other issues. So yes, notice either or, there's honors, riches, or something bountiful or wealthy here, but also notice how much confusion a lot of these stars have coalescing together. When we talk about the moon is, there are daytime rulers and nighttime rulers, and so I actually suspect you guys should feel the difference lately between what happens in the daytime and what happens at night, because technically Virgo's nighttime ruler is the moon, and so I would really suspect that whatever happens at night can be even more powerful or even more intense than what happens during the day. And it could be whether things are more in order at night or more relaxed at night, and less confusing during the day, or vice versa, because the moon likes to be in Virgo, but unfortunately the sun right now, what they say, if it has dignities, it doesn't technically have any dignities in the sign of Virgo. So some part of who you are at heart, who you are at your core, your vitality, all of these things could just be off. And especially since Neptune deals with no boundaries, a breakdown of drive, no discrimination, or trying to find spiritual philosophy, this could really throw people off in the loop. Okay, so let's see. Let's go to the next one. The fixed star influences. So the fixed stars usually have like planetary energies that they kind of run with. And so for the sun and moon, the fixed star energy can have issues with relating. And so relating can be sometimes having sex, sometimes being sociable, so there's a polarity between being sociable, having a good time. Hold on, it's buffering. Okay, hopefully you guys can still hear me. But being sociable, having a good time, Even sex hormones, so dealing with people's sex drive, commitment, forms of conception. People could be more fertile at this time. It could deal with people being lazy, indulgence, or having a stroke with good finances. It could deal with motor function, nerve spasms, inflammation, fear, anxiety, impulses, the runs, like people could have straight up diarrhea, thirst, temper issues like with being angry or irritated, issues with tools, ladders, fire in the. We should be back in business, everyone. Let me know. It's still buffering. There we go, guys. We are back in business. We're back in business right now. Sorry for the interruption. Again, technical difficulties sometimes happen here and there. This time, everything should be fine. All right. BMORE, you could come back now and resume what you was doing with everyone. We're beginning again. But here we go. And she's going back to our notes. Be careful where you put your notebook at, too. All right. Thank you guys for your patience. And we begin with the studies again. There you go. Okay. Woo-wee. Let me see. I might have to go back one just to. Okay, I might have to go back a few. All right. So what I do notice over these past couple of weeks, because, and I'll try to go back a few just to catch everyone up. But what I have noticed over these past couple of weeks, just looking on medical wise, or like what the vibe is, because there are correspondences in astrology to like illnesses and stuff like that, or just how body functions, and it can also tell you how people are going to behave, period. Lately, like from mid-summer, like maybe the end of summer, I'll give it maybe August, yeah, something like that. There, July, end of July, August, there's a big thing with like people hormones being off. And so like what you see is could be like an influx of different behavioral things. I guess you could look up the endocrine system, because the endocrine system manages all of your hormone functions. And depending on how many planets you have in different elements, so there's 4 elements, there's earth, water, fire, and air, that can tell you a lot of what you have going on. I know I briefly talked about vitality based off of your sun, moon, and rising, how your body handles your vitality and how it manages it. So someone, again, we talked about how someone can have great vitality, but maybe depending on your moon, your body doesn't manage it well, so you can get tired quickly. The good thing is you can get energy quickly, but you're tired quickly too, or just different things like that. But what I have noticed just looking around, there's been a weird thing with people with like their hormones are just off. And so this could have a long list of issues. So if you kind of been paying attention to the stream, like people can have issues with puberty, people can have issues with relating, socializing, having fun. Sometimes that could be an issue. Sex hormones can be an issue either. So sleeping can be an issue, commitment can be an issue, paying attention. Some people on the flip end can have a very high conception rate. Circadian rhythm heavily influences your hormone cycles. That's why sleep is so important. You're absolutely right. Hormones, melatonin really helps you to get to sleep. How much cortisol you have helps you get to sleep. There's a lot of it, but I do notice there's a strong emphasis on zodiac placements that rule hormones. So either people can have a high conception rate, like people can easily get pregnant now, depending on how your chart's set up. They can easily relate to people, but some people will find it hard to relate to people. So socializing can be hard. Interacting can be hard. Some people can be indulgent. It can seem like they're lazy, but it really is just the fact that they don't have a lot of hormonal triggers that is going to make them get up and go. So sometimes you meet people and they have a lack of drive, or they can have almost like a depression like energy, but it's mainly because they don't have enough of a neurotransmitter, a particular neurotransmitter that will help them. And you can see that in the chart. Like sometimes they just kind of stall out. This also deals with motor functions, nerves, spasms, inflammation, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, impulse control issues, people having the runs, people being like extra thirsty, people having temper issues, getting mad for no reason, issues with tools, ladders, fire, and accidents and incidents on the road. This is usually just an accident prone time period in general. You also have Neptune in the star, where it deals with romance, passion, animosity, feeling a rush in relationships, a lot of sex drive, kidney issues, urine issues, menstrual issues. There could be vein problems where the veins swell and they can have a hard time with circulating blood. There could be blood clot issues. Again, people could be playing and socializing, but again, some people are not going to be having the best go at it. This could be a good time for positive thinking and financial planning. But you see where the polarity between the sun and the moon and Neptune is, where some people are having a great time and then some people really are struggling in general. So the aspects, when the sun and Neptune oppose each other, there could be issues with vitality, issues with immune health. It could be anemia, breaks in consciousness. So it's hard for people to pay attention. Drugs, like people having to take drugs to do something, herbs to do something, just to get them through something. There could be eye issues, eye infections, fluid imbalances, especially in women. They could be like maybe more bloating and stuff like that. Allergies, addictions, reality altering substances. So people wanting to participate in things that break reality or break them physically being here. Dreams can be insightful. You can learn a lot from your dreams. I would suspect that some people are having like really intense, out of control, off the hook dreams. Creativity is important. Intuition is important. I also would be careful because Neptune is a buck wild planet. So what you thought made sense, what you thought was cool, how you thought it is, because it's such a dreamy planet and it's very dense. You think things make sense. Then after the transit passed and you're like, what the hell was I thinking? I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I feel this way. And to be fair to you guys, I think the planet or the lunation we had before, because this is Virgo. Hold on real quick. Okay. The supermoon that we had before at the end of August was in Pisces. And to be fair, I suspect like something between August and September now, you could have been doing something that you thought made sense, or you was all for it and you all for chasing the impossible dream, but then like you're examining it and you're like, whoa, I don't even know what's going on. That is such a Neptunian Pisces dynamic. That is such a Neptunian Pisces dynamic. A lot of times when people have these experiences, even like sometimes even dating other Pisces or people with strong Neptunian Pisces placements, kind of like a whirlwind. They could put you in a real blender just because of the natural dynamic and the density of those planets. So some planets are more dense and some of them are less dense, meaning like the elements are compacted higher together. So density deals with how much of a material or matter is coalescing or together in one place. So air is less dense than something like water because water is clinging to each other, or earth is clinging to each other. So this is why I say some of you guys will be having, oh girl, I've been outside, I've been running the streets, I've been getting the poom poom ran through, or whatever y'all doing, I've been out here just getting it. And then some people be like, look, I've been listening to Toni Braxton, I've been crying, I've been fighting my boyfriend, that type of stuff. To be fair, because these are very dense placements, they're going to have a different reality. They're going to have a different frequency when dealing with them. And to be fair, water signs and earth signs are more dense than a fire and an air sign. So you see where we're getting just like how just in general they would socialize and interact, usually the more sociable, upbeat, happier signs are usually fire and air. When it comes to the more intense, deep, how can I say it, maybe applying pressure in a lot of ways, harder to escape or deal with, these are water signs, especially when we talk about dating. So like, notice how people describe signs based off of the element. So how people describe dating a water sign, how people decide dating earth sign. So people be like, yeah, I dated a Scorpio, this happened to me, or I dated a Capricorn or something. Notice how those are dense. Then someone says, I dated a Leo, this was my issue. I've dated a Gemini, this was my issue. Notice that they tend to lead to opposite descriptions. This is what I'm talking about. So some people are more dense, like I had more fun with this person. It's easier for them to socialize or interact because they're not that dense. There's not that much compaction there. And then some people want all the compaction. They want all the intensity, all the weight on them, all the bricks. They want turtlenecks, they want crying, they want the whole thing. So yeah. All right, so the moon will be opposing Neptune as well. So this means that people can have low and eroded boundaries. So having it hard for you to separate yourself from other people. What you think, what they think, how you feel, what you identify with, how they identify with. So people can be very impressionable and they can be emotional dependent. And sometimes vice versa. You can be like needy or dependent on them, or codependent and vice versa. But this can deal with psychosomatic dynamics. So psychosomatics just means like someone's mind and body are acting in unison without any separation. So like how I feel is instantly in a physical form. And this is a very Pisces Neptune thing, which is why people like, wow, they really have like an emotionalism thing kind of down. That's what that is. That's how those types of things happen. This could also deal with psychosis and delusions. It could deal with addictions, and addictions to anything that will erode the mental barriers where you want to connect with oneness and unity. So sometimes it could be like, people be like, obviously drugs is a thing, but sometimes it could be music, art. Sometimes it's sexual things. That's why I said sex could be on the menu. You know, being with people who are suspicious or unseemly could be on the menu. But it really depends. Anything that you personally think would erode your barriers or you're merging in. For some people, it's just going to church. Like, I go to church, we all get together, or I went out, hung out with a group of people and I had fun. But again, whatever you feel like will help you merge with other people. But really, this could deal with strong dissatisfactions with the disappointments in life and life restrictions. So this can be quite intense in the sense of like people struggling to accept what they can and can't do, how far they can get with things. It could be very hard, especially since by the end of August, people was dreaming up all types of things and they were trying to figure out how it can turn certain dreams or certain feelings or whatever into a reality. And this could be a bit more harder for them to deal with because they're being hit with a very harsh form of reality or a harsh form of dissatisfaction. And there could be a strong need to retreat from reality, which is why, you know, positive suggestions could be, like I said, church, creativity, prayer, art, visualizations. This could also show up like allergies and asthma and stuff like that. But the more positive things, it could do this. This can also have people having issues with fighting off illnesses. So sometimes when people have a harshness with reality, because the physical body is a physical or material concept. It is materialism. So to have a body automatically makes you materialistic in a sense. But to have feelings, to have emotions, and to have, like, I guess you could say, a soul or a mind, this gives people more of a spiritual experience. And so there's 3 ways a transit can really just knock you. The first way, it could be spiritual or on the soul level, where you're going through something emotionally, it sucks or it's great, whatever the case may be, but you're integrating it in a way that makes sense. Hence the soul shattering experiences of being a Pisces or Neptune. So it's a tough pill, or it was some adjustments, but I made it through. The next one could be a external event or material event, meaning like other people, other objects, things that are foreign to my body that are not me. And this could be for people who have no subconscious or mind connection to what is happening. So for instance, someone goes and is like, oh, I lost my job, or oh, I got in an argument with my girl or my boyfriend or whatever. These are externalized events, that maybe you're on a psychic level or a subconscious level, or even just how you deal with emotional intelligence. You're having a problem integrating it. So what the universe will do, it will externalize the event so much where it will put you at direct odds with it, where you will have to deal with it. The last one is illness. And again, because I said bodies, like what you have is a mix between the body and the soul. You want to get sick, and then you have feelings about being sick. You have to stay positive when you're sick. You have to think about ways to cure it. But there's also a physical material aspect where it's a physical body that's not feeling well either. So these are the two dynamic. Those are like a twofold dynamics. And those are people who have semi-consciousness. So they kind of aware, but not. So this is when you see like, working this job makes me sick. And then people have like intestinal issues, so they can get like an ulcer, or they can get nausea, or they can maybe have like maybe they have gas, or like vomiting or whatever, or acid reflux, because they're so stressed out. So it shows up in a physical form. So this is what I said, psychosomatic, in a sense, like whatever you're feeling can show up in a physical way, like illness, but it's a spiritual and an emotional response. Hopefully that makes sense. That's why I'm going to be talking about, I didn't make a slide for it, but I'll briefly talk about some things y'all could do to possibly help if you're having psychosomatics, meaning like I'm having direct emotions and they're so intense that I might be having some of the symptoms you're describing, or I might be having some type of illness try to pop off with me right now, because I'm subconsciously aware, but I'm also not making any physical or active decisions. So now the planets, or I guess you could say God or the universe, is going to force me to deal with whatever this is, or come to terms with it through a disease, which happens all the time. It just happens. So yeah, this deals with the idea of psychosomatics, with dealing with the restrictions in life, the harshnesses of life, where you're restricted from having a physical form. Because again, people want to, I told you before, I want to merge into oneness. I want to be connected with this. I want to be in it. Okay, well now I can't be in it because I have my body, or whatever limitation is how it's set up in your chart, but I can't really merge. So, or I can't really vibe out to what I'm trying to do. So like dreaming, being in love, these are all merging things. Art is merging, creativity is merging, prayer, whatever. I can't merge, so I'm really disappointed about it. What can I do? The main thing you would have to figure out a way to turn, if you have any of these types of things I've described, turn the victim mentality into a victor, because we are also having a physical response, because there's could be also like a lack of a drive to integrate with life, to socialize, and being depressed about it, or being upset about it. They could be like, I'm just really going through something right now. Very 2002 Monica, face. So that's what it feels like. So this can deal with water retention. I've seen women have like PMS syndrome, where they're having like hormonal issues before the period. So it's just very intense. You can get like idiopathic edema, which deals with like glandular issues, osmosis, dealing with whether something's real or not, whether it's your imagination or did it really happen. These are kind of things that happen, but you should be examining something that you thought was going to happen that didn't happen. So let's get into the rising signs. Now that we've covered kind of like the gist of it, where you could get in trouble, you could meet with some poor people, you could have some issues where things don't work out, but again, there's still positive things too, because you have Pluto, you have Jupiter, and like I talked about in my last stream, whatever you dealt with from early February to early June-ish, so from like spring to June, it could come back around again just to see how well you integrated those lessons. So any type of like perceivable things not working out or kind of hardships, it should be a bit easier to integrate, to deal with, to cope with. So let's get into the rising signs. These aren't really in zodiacal order. I just sit them up and post them however I saw fit. But for Cancer, this is going to happen in your third house. So if you're Cancer rising, this will happen in the realm of neighbors, siblings, rivals, talking, running errands, and information. Things that are of use and things that are of purpose under this concept. So you could deal with that. You could also be dealing with the roles, what kind of role or trying to sharing information and how that kind of matriculates out. And because technically the third house also can deal with certain forms of like competitors or some like anemic things, you could also be trying to maybe you lost to an enemy. I'm not saying like on some intense comic book Powerpuff Girl shit, but I'm meaning just like maybe you had like a rival or something with someone, something going on with your neighbor, something going on with siblings, and it's just not working. Because again, these are poor integrations, poor hormonal dynamics. Again, some people could be having a good time, but overall it's trying to have a good time while also things not working out. For Leo risings, this deals with materialism in the second house, physical items, finances, and spending. This could technically also, for Leo risings, this could also deal with certain forms of self-esteem. Having certain things tied to self-esteem and what you own and what you naturally possess. For Virgo risings, this could deal with because it's in your first house, it will deal with appearance, habits, bodies, your physical body, and how popular you are. For Libra risings, this could deal with secrets. I would suggest anyone who is a Libra rising to try to review events that happened months prior, because by next month, because we're going to be straight up in eclipse season, by next month you're going to have a new moon / eclipse in your first house. So that is a lot of intense transformative energy, a lot of intense. So this could deal with also dealing with people who are institutionalized, whether they're in like a hospital, a prison, but any type of institutions, but also hidden talents, hidden desires. I can see a lot of Libra risings coming up on some intense desire thing coming out, hidden themes, secrets, hidden things. That's the main thing. But just if you're a Libra rising, try to review anything that happened months before, because once eclipse season happens, it's going to take off like crazy, and it's going to last for 6 months, because like about 6 months to the next eclipse season. So it'll be quite intense until next March. For Scorpio rising, this will deal with social events, friends, networking, dreams, and goals. This overall will be like kind of fun. Like actually, I'm not gonna lie, Scorpio risings should be having a good time. Like I feel they one of the signs where I'm like, they running around, they in a vibe, they feeling it. Like really, I don't think they're not a sign that will be really struggling. So they should be having a good ass time. For Sag, this could deal with career, this could deal with status. And you know what, for Sag, I actually can see why to a certain extent this could be hard for you guys, because it's going to deal with career, status, government, or parental dynamics. Wait, I miss Virgo. Virgo is on the board, but if you can't see it, I'll go back over it. But it is in the slides, but I'll go back over it. But yeah, so Sag, this will be interesting for you because y'all have such this whole indifferent, I don't really care about nothing fazed me, I'm just blowing from here to here. And so I do think it's interesting that y'all really care about status, care about government, care about like parent, and wanting to refine your reputation, refine your status, and refine these types of things. That'll be interesting because Sag rising, like I can feel like they like, I'm not pressed about nothing. But it's like, you gonna be pressed this time. Now, Chippendale, no, you didn't miss it. For on here for Virgo risings is there with appearance, habits, bodies, and popularity. So wanting to get all of those types of things in order. All right. So for Capricorn risings, this would deal with future plans, travel, maybe hearing from people who are far away, people you haven't talked to in so long. They coming up in your face like, hey girl, hey, you remember me? Yeah. That's what we're hearing. You can also deal with in-laws, legal problems, whether it's like you doing jury duty or something to deal with the law. In-laws are the law, but also dealing with the truth, knowledge, or like certain forms of, like, I guess you could say your own philosophy or your own reality. I don't think that's really too far off with y'all. I think the main thing maybe could be expansion or being open to new viewpoints, because I don't think Capricorns really naturally would do that. That might be a struggle, but if you're open to it, you might could learn something about yourself, learn something about people. Just keep an eye out for that. Aquarius risings, this would deal with family, money, joint resources, debt, taxes. If you're an Aquarius rising, I would be mindful of any type of loans that you take out, any type of debt you own. Not to go too crazy. Actually, I would suggest Aquarius and Leo, both of you. Aquarius, you could get approved for like loans, or other people would give you things to, like, I guess, spend or manage. Not necessarily your things, like something shared. But I would be careful, because you don't want to like do too much, because then they might just come back on something like, I need you to pay it back now, or I need XYZ now. So you probably should be careful with that. Same with Leo. Their personal possessions, like things that they personally own, will go up. Not like my lover's money, my dad money, like not family, lovers, no, me. But they should be careful too, because I do notice Leos are kind of flashy in certain regards. So I can see them spending too much, doing too much. And then, they might have an expense come up and they kind of screwed. So you should be careful with that. Let's see. I have a Scorpio rising, so it's good to know. Yeah, like the Scorpios actually, they kind of having a good time, because like it's in a placement where they're socializing and kind of having fun. So like, if you dealing with something like right now where it talks about dealing with a harsh reality, wanting to escape or socialize more, well, if you're invited to an event or to a party, that kind of fits the narrative. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, so if you're like, man, life sucks, let me go play World of Warcraft or something like that, or man, dang, life sucks, I'm about to go to this party. That makes more sense, because it's a socializing aspect where you're going to merge in with people, versus like I talked about Aquarius and Leo. Life sucks, let me spend more money. You see how that don't make sense? And then you like, dang, I overspent. So that's why I said some people going to get away with it or be fine, and then some people it's too much because of like where it just is. So like a Scorpio rising be like, dang, life sucks, I'm going to a party, I'm about to go hang out with my friends, because it's in like the 11th house. And it could also be like meeting up with lovers too, because it'll be on the 11th 5th house axis. So maybe you go get your cheeks clapped or something, I don't know, because it deals with like lovers and stuff like that. But but like somewhere where we like an Aquarius versus like an Aquarius or Leo, you see how that's not the same? Or even like a Sag, where they want to be recognized for something, they want status, they care about what people think, or they care about moving up in the world or getting a good promotion. Them not getting the promotion or going after their dreams, or they struggling with it, and the harshness of reality is just too much for them. That's way different. Like, where they want to merge from, because it's like the public group dynamics, how people see them, that's a bit different. Like, where would they go? Right? Yeah, you see what I'm saying? That's why I said some of y'all are going to be having a good time. Cause like I see the Scorpios, like they be like, okay Google, play Jagged Edge where the party at. Right. Y'all having very different experiences depending on what you got. And I'm not even getting into like your natal charts, which we will get into after, since some people volunteered for tribute, which I really appreciate, because we'll get into this after I run through all of this stuff. But y'all see the difference, what I'm saying? Like, not the same vibe. Stress. So like, you see how a Sag got something different going on. The Scorpio's having a good time. You know, having a good time in my room. I think Topaz, I think you was a Sag rising. Yeah, so like you wanting to move up in the world and things is just not going how you thought it was. So over there, you know, want more power, want to be taken more seriously, issues with parents, issues with the government. It's just, yeah. Everybody not, because escapism is great, but in the right place is good. You can have just enough fun. Escapism, like at work or with money, is like, you know, escaping with money, you could spend too much. Now, if you got money, you could go on vacation, but still don't spend too much, because you guys still come home. All right. So for Pisces, this could deal with your 7th house. So this would deal with like relationships, competition, deals, marriages. And so maybe relationships aren't what you thought they were. Like, who you thought was your competitor wasn't your competitor. Who you thought was on your team wasn't on your team. You know, who's, you know, you're making agreements with isn't. You know, it could be a hard pill to, and I feel for the little Pisces risings, because they already kind of delulu anyway. They kind of already experienced the world in a very piercing, soul shattering, intense situation. So, you know, they definitely going to be on some R&B ish, because they're going to go through it with relationships, you know, dealing with other people. If someone is doing something to them that's, you know, not what they thought it was, things aren't what they appear to be. I thought you was this way. And then even, you know, with some of the Pisces, some people thought they was away too. So they got the makings for a great album. If the Pisces want to come up with a song, they got the great makings for it, especially since Pisces deals with art and, you know, being an artist. But they got some good ish, because it's like, not only is it, you know, the person, they different, they not what they see, blah blah blah, but who the Pisces felt like they was different. So they can have like a identity crisis, and then the person was like, I saw you this way, and it can be like real critical. Like Pisces risings, whoo, it's just real intense. But yeah, that's what I say. You have a soul shedding experience, and then you want to escape. But since it's your ascendant, well, since it's the other way around, it almost like y'all try to escape yourself. So between them and the Virgo rising, it's very interesting. I'm going to escape into the DC universe. That's funny. Things definitely didn't go how I wanted or planned. You stay reading me. Look, I just read the chart. So that's why I said, like, some of y'all really just, But to be fair to all the mutable, because this is a mutable cycle. So it's going on Pisces. We're here with Pisces. We had Pisces at the end of, I think, August. And now we're with Virgo. This is a mutable cross. And so mutable crosses, or when you have lunar cycles that go through all of this stuff, it deals with change and exchanging things. What can you change and what you can exchange things for? That's why I suggested y'all listen to the she's like a psychologist, but her name is Heidi. I think her name is Piper or something like that. But she talks about illusions and fantasies, and how we use fantasies to cope with the struggles and the intensity of life, which is exactly what we're going on here. Because remember that I posted that in Patreon, and I talked about it on the stream at the end of August. And how people can use fantasy to cope with very harsh realities, and how things are upsetting. And sometimes, like, fantasies can be good coping mechanisms, like, to a certain level. And escapism can be great, but are we not being realistic because things are too harsh? Because it's not really a goal, it's a fantasy. So being able to tell your fantasies from goals and what's real, but also can you handle the problems that are attached to those fantasies? And I think people are starting to feel it now, because especially with this new moon in Virgo, where we have like the sun and the moon hyper concentrating consciousness and identity and who we are and what we want to execute now. Can you deal with the new problems that you want to try to tackle now? That's the main thing. That's why some of y'all having fun. So like I said, the Scorpios partying, the Aquarius and Leo spending money they don't have, the Sag and Gemini dealing with role dynamics. So maybe a Sag rising thought they was popular. Not really, bitch. You not that popular, or people don't like you like that, or something happened in public. They was getting their birds. They thought they was going to get a promotion. Something happened publicly. Something happened with their parent. You know, Gemini, something happened at home. You know, everything just all over the place. So change and exchange. Which can you change? What can you exchange? What problems do you have now that you want not to be your problem no more? And what problems do you want? Because you want to have problems, but what problems would you prefer? Like sitting up here like, ooh, my man care about me. That's a problem I want. When that is a problem you would prefer. Ooh, my girl come home every night. That's a problem you would prefer. Now, ooh, my man smacked me in the head. That's not a problem you want. Ooh, my kid's bad as hell. That's not a problem you want. When I'm broke, that's not a problem you want. Y'all see what I'm getting at here? Hopefully, I'm trying to make it very like direct. But problems we prefer and problems we don't want. Hey, Digital. Hold on, I'm trying to remember what Digital Rising was, because I could have passed it already. If y'all came in late, I will just talk about it. It's in the slideshow, but yeah, notice problems you want and problems you don't want. You know, that's it. Change and exchange. What can you change and what can you exchange? That's what mutable signs are great for. They're great for like switching things out. I would prefer this problem. I don't want this problem anymore. I need, you know, blah, blah, blah. Sag. Yeah, so like I said, the Sagittarius, they dealing with issues with the public, getting promotions, getting, you know, power, getting, you know, issues with parents. It's not working out for y'all. Y'all about to go home and cry. I told you, some of y'all gonna be listening to Toni Braxton. I'm not trying to make fun, but it's true. Yeah, I don't want none of them last fruit problems you listed. That's all I'm saying. And as you can see, when I read through the list of like where the problems, because this is just like where the problems will occur. And I talked about what it would deal with, like dealing with something like, dang, this is not what I wanted, or this reality is harsh as hell. I don't want to deal with this. What am I going to do? This is just where it's going to show up. What is specifically for you? Again, it depends on your chart. That's why we're going to deal with planetary planning, and we're going to talk about, you know, health and how to manage that, because there's some health aspects in this transit that people can deal with. But that's what we're at. That's what we're at. That's all. Like, it's really it's funny, but it's not funny when you going through it. You know, I did receive criticism recently about the way some people view me, and I was like, what? Girl, see, I told y'all this. That's why I said criticism and haters, I'm telling you, they just coming out nowhere. So this could deal with like people, like your lovers hating on you, your kids, somebody just coming up, because there's a fixed star that deals with like you trying to persevere and they being a hater. I'm telling you, God, like, so sometimes it's real. Like sometimes it's a real critique. Like someone like, baby, I love you, but you're tripping right now. Let me try to get your wig on straight. Cause I could see the cap, your hair is out. It's just a mess. And some people just be hating. You right. Cause with my job, I just got more work than my requests being made. See, that's what I'm saying. The Sag is about to go home and cry. Or they're going to try to leave. They're going to try to detach somewhere. As I say, all the Sag rising is just going through it right now. But yeah, that's what I say. Like, I guess for Topaz, I guess the real question is, when a person made the criticism, were they trying to? Okay, so let's talk about self-esteem. We're going to jump right into self-esteem right here. So, when someone is making a proper criticism of you, and this really deals with childhood root home, so anybody who's a Sag rising is going to this will probably trigger on a inverse some childhood issues that maybe you had to deal with, or some behavioral issues. So since all the Sages are crying together, let's talk about it, because they really going, to be fair to them, they getting L'd out publicly. You know, some of people getting L'd out in private, or some people having fun. Like the Scorpio risings are going out, hanging out with people, which is a fun, you know, creativity, illusion, merging with people. My day was hard. I'm going to the bar with my friends. They had to go come pick me up. Different. Okay, for them, this is where we talk about criticism and self-esteem, or dealing with people who aren't good for us, and they're talking about your actions, what you personally did versus who you are. So some of the criticisms, like if someone says, okay, I will do a script. Since Topaz brought it up, hey Topaz, you know, every time I try to hang out with you, you keep coming up here and you're always late. You're making excuses. You becoming kind of like not respecting my time. You know, I really don't like when you do that. If we're scheduled to hang out, you need to blah blah blah. Or if you're scheduled for work, you need to show up. You know, you can't do that. You have to respect other people's time. That is a criticism on an action that you did that people did not like. Right? What is not a criticism, and it's just you being a hating ass mother effer, is if I sit here and you say, hey Topaz, you really just suck as a person. I don't like you. You're not on our level. You always up here just making the energy go down. Like, that's you criticizing who I am as a person. And this is a matter of taste. This is what I'm talking about, Virgo with taste. So people trying to use their personal taste. This is where you get criticism from, because people are refining for personal taste. That is your taste. That is not who I am. If you don't like who I am, there's a lot of people outside. But what you can't do is try to use who I am and try to refine who I am. That's taste. And so this could deal with being at home, where people could be, or publicly trying to make declarations or tweak who you are as a person, versus just saying what they prefer and what they don't prefer. I can't change who I am. So that's where we're getting to things that will affect your self-esteem. Because I remember I was listening to a Reddit story, and this guy and his girlfriend were arguing because they both went to college together. They like childhood sweethearts. He took it seriously. He studied. She didn't. She was crying. She was blaming everybody for why she didn't do good. So she lacked accountability on her part, to be fair. But he got fed up and was basically saying, you're not on my level, because she did poor academically. Now, to be fair to him, he said, I shouldn't have said that, because what I meant to say was your academics or your work ethic is not on my level. That is an action that she's taking that is not appropriate to the plans that they both put forward. So if they both said, to be fair to that couple, we want to get married, we want to buy a house. Well, babe, you can't slack off with your work because we need money to do that. So you're acting ghetto right now. But if I say you're not on my level, who I am as a person, you're just attacking me. That's why I say we're dealing with haters. That's a hater. You don't like me. And then when you say you don't like me, they're like, no. I'm like, no, baby, you don't like me. And that's okay.
Wait, that sounds like an interesting Reddit real quick. So he was doing good in college and she wasn't, and he said, you're not on my level. I don't know, that's like subjective, because I could see it being justified. Like if we made plans to work hard and I don't trust you, because now, unless like, let's say your mom died, or like something major happened, a major life event that took you off your game, I'm gonna be compassionate, like you know, you're my girl or you're my guy. But if you just didn't do it, and also you trying to like be slick and weigh your future out all on me, like for me to do all the work, like you subconscious, like, yo, this nigga gonna do it well, so I don't have to work as hard. Get out of here. we ain't staying together. You ain't gonna make me no damn mule.
I don't disagree with that, honey, but okay, I might have to link some of the Reddit stories because we be really in here gagging on the stories what people put on the internet. But what he said, he meant to say like, you didn't work hard, but that's not what he said, because he got so tired of her complaining. So he ended up saying like, you're not on my level. He said, I don't think I'm better than her, I just know she's smart and she effing around right now. But when he got mad, he just blew up on her.
So he still wanted to be in the relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, well then damn, you don't say that if you want to stay in the relationship. That's how you say when you break up. You ain't on my level, you know, you just trying to ride on my train. We out, I'm out. But damn, you still try and stay with her. She gonna be pissed.
Well, because, you know, me and Prince was talking about this. And so he was like, she better go ahead. I'm like, no, babe. What he did was mean. He did affect her self-esteem. He didn't have to say that because he got mad at her complaining. Now, to be fair, he said, you know what? If she want to redo her career, because he said, I know what path she is in career-wise. She needs a master's degree. She didn't do it. And she works outside of what she went to school for. And he said, I would help her get through it. I said, but you kind of bullied her a little bit. And to also be fair, the added level of the story, her family took his side. I'm like, yikes.
That's what I'm saying. What took place for her to fail? Is it just because she doesn't know where she was gonna go? If he says, all right, you're smart, so he does believe intellectually she's on the same level, but he feels worth ethic or direction they're not. What's going on with her then? Why is she fucking up like this?
We never really get her side. It's his side of the story. So we never really get all the TT, because sometimes you can get both of their side of the story. But I really don't know. But it is something about her family minding her business taking up on his side. Like, I think that's weird too. Like, they're grown. Because, you know, to be fair, when y'all be fighting y'all booze out in a room, flipping people over, I ain't cooking you breakfast, you know, whatever, and y'all wrestling in the street, you know, you want people to mind their business when y'all arguing or some why did I get married ish, you know. So don't come over here with some Gen X BS, taking his side. I'm your daughter, mind your business. What you should have said was like, oh honey, you, because you know how they do, oh honey, it'll work out. That's what I'm expecting, not, you know, blah blah blah, mind y'all business.
Well, most of these Reddit stories be white people complaining. And I'm gonna be honest with you, if I'm your family but I paid for you, if I'm paying out of pocket, then bitch, you know, I'm what the fuck is going on? Now if she got a scholarship and we ain't pay out of pocket, then I'm minding my business when it comes to y'all relationship. I'm minding my business. But if they did pay out of pocket, of course they're gonna agree with the boyfriend, like, yo, what's going on? Like, I'm paying out of pocket. And white people tea on Reddit do be funny. And the reason why I say it's white people, because I know most of the time just how the stories come about. I'm like, oh, these are white people. These are white people stories. But you know, again, no, if you trying to stay in a relationship with someone, you got to be careful. You can't be too harsh. Yeah. No, I get it. Like, if someone's complaining all the time, like, I don't like it when people complain if you're giving them advice. Like, she's like, you know, oh my God, but if you blaming everybody else for why you failed and then your parents paying out of pocket, like, people are not going to be too pleasant with you.
I get you. But to be fair, she's a woman. And I'm not saying this like on some sexist stuff. I'm saying this biologically, because women's limbic system, this is what I talk about, like, biologically, women, this is why they rule certain things in charts, because there's certain things that on a biological level, it leans this way. So biologically, most women are going to have a huge limbic system, which deals with like cycles, regulating, eating, memory, nurturing, sleep. These all the things go that way, you know, dealing with period cycles. Men usually, they have a limbic system, but it's not as big. And so she's talking from an emotional standpoint based off of experiences and conditioning. So I've experienced it. This is how I feel. Now, this is what I be for real, babe, because I do this all the time. I'm like, I just want to cry. I don't want no solutions. Let me be sad and we can work on solutions after. I feel like she should have hit him with that, because most men or people, I've also seen women with smaller limbic systems. like a man, they kind of, not saying that they are men, but some of their logic or reasoning leans more masculine because of how their chart is set up. But they be like, no, babe, like, let's fix it. I'm like, no, I want to cry. Get out my face.
You know I'm all about problem solving. Like I think I know. Of course, crying is tears is a digital baby that said she's a bum, but I get it. That's what I'm talking about. Look, if something, when people are down bad and they have a reason, I don't judge. I'm telling you. But so far, I'm just saying what BMORE is giving of the Reddit story ain't giving me enough to sympathize yet. Now, if I find out something happened, see, that's why context is important. If something happened to throw her off her game, and if you love someone, you got to be there for them. Like, come on. But if she just slacked off because she just didn't feel like it, and then she complaining, she being bummy. And as somebody who loves you, I'm gonna tell you, yo, you being bummy. And then to your point, BMORE, yes, you could be emotional at times, but you do have great reasoning skills when you're crying or whatever, and someone like tells you like come on now, you do get it together, and you already know how I operate. It's more about solutions, you know. Although, to be fair, crying is important. It does release certain chemicals, stress chemicals that do help you with your body. This is why for women, they're less prone to having certain issues, you know. But for me, I don't cry about things like that, you know. BMORE knows I gotta put on a depressing film. Like, oh, okay, good, I did what my body needed me to do.
Well, okay, this is where I would give it to her, and I actually think she has a strong, like, female limbic chart. I'm gonna be real, because when he described it, and I was listening to it, like, when I think medically, because sometimes I'm like, I think I know what she had because in her chart, because I felt it when he was describing the story. When he came, because she had ran to her friend's house, and when he came to, I'm gonna get back to the ascendants, guys. I really am. I'm gonna get back to the risings. But when he came to her house, he was like, baby, come home, and she was like, no, I'm not gonna come home, right? and so he was like, why? I just want to, well, he did apologize because he said, I shouldn't have said you wasn't shit. That was mean, and that wasn't even the point.
He didn't say that. He said
you was my level, but that's also saying you're beneath me.
No, it could be.
No, how he said it did imply that. He said he didn't mean it to come off that way, but he was getting mad. To be fair to him, he did take accountability. Said I was being mean. So
take accountability for them grades.
I don't disagree, but when she said this, it actually made me understand what their problems was as a couple. Honestly, after we get into their relationship problems, we're gonna get back to it. But she said, you know, you're emotionally mean to me. And you know what I thought about? And I think this will go into like what we're talking about. I think when he doesn't know how to criticize her without demeaning her. This is what I'm talking about. Some people in the charts where they dealing with public criticisms or home criticisms, he don't know how to do it without telling her you ain't shit.
But digital making digital saying he's a
enabler.
And then he got fed up after they Digital, you're 100% correct. Let me tell you how I see it. He listened to her babble on with her bullshit excuses for probably like weeks, enabling her with her crybaby nonsense, and then he got fed up and said, "Tell her the truth." If he would have told her the truth from the beginning, he wouldn't have blown up on her.
But it did make me think, like, but to the point of what Topaz and Digital saying, since they are Sag Risings, it did make me think, do people know how to, outside of roasting her, but did people understand how to criticize people properly?
You know, with you, I tell you the truth from the beginning.
You do.
I give you time, whether you like what I said, and I give you time to.
But I will say, I don't like that.
I
I will tell you right in your face, like, don't talk to me like that. Or when you be like, babe, let's fix it, I'm like, I don't want to fix it, I just want to cry. You know, that's just how I am. Like, I actually have to have down periods to be sad, you know. But no, I don't want to fix it, I want to cry, and I want to listen to some Brandy or Monica. That's it. Get out my face. You know. But she was tripping. She was tripping. Because to be fair, he said when they was in college, she kept wanting to run around the streets and party.
No, see, I did. Come here. Give me the mic one more time. Because y'all need to get back to your astrology studies. But just to say this one more time, there's no sympathy for this woman. You heard what BMORE just said? She was running the streets, partying and shit. So, no, he should have been told her the truth. Like, nah, he's in the right. No, I agree with you. But then that means when he said you not on my level, what's insensitive about that? He's telling the truth. If you going out there clubbing and partying and I'm out here studying and working, then you not on my level. And I don't need to try to he a simp for apologizing. Why apologize for the truth? You out there drinking in the club and twerking and shit, and I'm here working. I'm supposed to be sensitive to you, but you ain't sensitive to the fact that I'm studying and working to get us to the promised land? Nah.
This is why you have to tell them immediately if you want to be a stay-at-home wife. This is why y'all can cut all these quarters. Like, oh, sweetie, I don't want a career. I would like to stay home. Thanks. Because she blew that whole degree. But anyway,
he could have actually. He's there because of the sex. He needs to break up with her, because if she blowing money now and your dumb self get married to her, then she gonna be blowing your money when they're married. He has to move on now. Be friends on her. You know, say we'll be friends. You know, I'll still be there for you as a friend, but he need to move on.
Yeah, he cried because she said she don't want to stay with him. But you know. But honestly, this is why I said he was probably like a Virgo rising or Pisces, like in this situation with this whole new moon thing, because they both was off the hook. But yeah. Okay, so let's get back into it. For Aries risings, this would deal with work, job relations, like so dealing with like other employees, co-workers, your pets, exercise, diet, routine, repairing stuff, things that are of use, things that have purpose, and things that are of service. And so some of y'all are gonna be like, I'm tired of this job, I'm tired of dealing with people. Y'all might be tired of y'all pets too, or maybe something messed up happened to y'all pets. No offense, you know, I'm not trying to be good. For your Aries risings, I don't know, man. For Taurus risings, it deals with kids, romance, sports, creativity, investments, pleasure. So this could also be sex. You know what? For Taurus risings, they could be having a good time too with Scorpios. I think y'all could be having a lot of sex or just enjoying yourselves. You know, going out, having fun. Because it's like, you know, y'all want to merge and like not deal with things. Escapism. So this actually fall in line with better escapisms or forms of escapisms than the other ones. And then for Gemini, it deals with home, family, relocation, and roles. It can also deal with forms of like childhood, and so trying to escape those thoughts, trying to escape home, wanting to merge, wanting to have like a dream home, or you know, types of dynamics like that. People moving in, people moving out, stuff like that. I think that's the last one. It is. Okay. So any questions before we start? You know what? No, my bad. I did tell y'all I was going to tell y'all about the health stuff. I'm going to run through the health stuff, and then we're going to start planning and going through people's charts and stuff like that. My sneaky link is married with a toddler. Girl. Prayer changes things. This is too much. Okay, so I'm just gonna give y'all like a brief wrap up of like how to like look through the chart. So when I look at the transiting charts, you got 2 planets in water, 6 in earth, 2 in air, and 3 in fire. This is what I'm saying about certain elements release certain frequencies. So because we have 2 planets in water and they're both retrograded, so Saturn and Uranus, water deals with serotonin levels and it helps us to keep calm. These are not excitatory neurotransmitters. These are very calm neurotransmitters. So when you have 2 of them and they're supposed to keep you calm, and there could be like a groundedness or resistance to these types of relaxation things. These overall, what I usually see, like lately, even just looking around, people can be like highly disagreeable, poor comprehension skills. People have bad nerves, bad impulse problems. People can have emotional delays. So like someone told you your butt stink and then you wait 2 weeks and then you cry about it, like something crazy like that. They can have a beastly behavior, almost acting animalistic or deviant. People can be unhappy. They can have low energy, a low or poor appetite, or a fluctuating appetite. So I thought I was hungry, I'm not hungry, stuff like that. So when I see that, like with water, with the suggestion, you could do things that are water leaning. So relationships, art, creativity, love, memories, these things can help as well. And that's on a mental level, dealing with your emotions, dealing with how you feel, dealing with spiritual things, dealing with magic. Health wise, you could deal with like fruits, particularly fruits and vegetables that are juicy or water. They carry a lot of water. You could eat like rice, water, oats, seaweed. I'm gonna put a caveat near dairy only because how some of the other planets are, it's kind of like an asterisk. We'll get to that caveat a bit later, but if you can swing with dairy, fine. Try to do as much natural sugars. Don't do too many refined. Beans, again, an asterisk next to beans, but have to watch raw diuretic foods and teas. So like there are certain vegetables that are diuretics, which means that like they help your body pass liquids. So like you pee, you also become less bloated. So those will be like carrots, celery, cabbage, asparagus. Because there's already, I talked about before and how these aspects are, there's an issue with bloating and water retention. You would have to be careful with how much water diuretic herbs or diuretic or water releasing or salt releasing herbs and vegetables that you're going to eat, if you're going to go this route. Be careful with teas and how much teas you take. What can help you is something called demeculants, and these are kind of things that are moisture kind of intensified. They help the body stay moist from within. So I know some people don't like moist, but y'all gonna have to deal with it. But like honey and licorice is easy. So if you want to, and preferably good honey, quality honey. If you don't have quality honey, I might can find y'all some other demeculants, but if you can try licorice, I would. Also, if you have other health problems, possibly I think like a thyroid problem, if I remember correctly, I don't think y'all could take licorice. But again, any of these herbs or food that I suggest or dietary routines, please look them up to make sure that they're compatible with whatever prescriptions you're taking and whatever lifestyles that y'all have to live. Because diets only work if they're compatible. This is a transiting diet. This is not one based off of your birth chart. So some of y'all have particular ones that work on the birth chart. It don't work like a transiting. This is just what could help some people who are struggling health wise right now. Okay, so there's a high earth level. So there are 6 planets in earth. So that means that GABA is off the hook. So serotonin, which is water, and GABA, these are both calming type of neurotransmitters. So even though there's a level of depression or calm things, there could be certain issues where there's not movement or people acting out how they're supposed to, and when they do, it's on some BS. They're acting out of control. Hey Yemi, these Virgos are moving crazy. It is a Virgo new moon, so honestly they should be acting crazy. All the mutable signs should be acting crazy. If you have predominant Sag, Pisces, Virgo, Gemini placements, I suspect off the hook behavior somewhere. But yeah, there's a lot of denseness and heaviness. And so finding the proper way to move, when to move, how to move, how we're reacting. This is why I said some people are having like delays in emotions. They can also be having delays in stimulation. So it's hard for them to feel stimulated while also emotionally regulated. This is why we having stimulated things while also people having emotional problems. Hopefully that makes sense. So it's like I'm stimulated, but I'm also not emotionally there. So I'm having an emotional delay, but I'm also acting like an animal, beastly, or like deviant, like I'm up to shenanigans, but I'm not really processing how I feel emotionally. That's usually what you see. So things that can help this are light foods like fruit and salads, emphasis on fruits and vegetables if you can swing it. Spices, if you can handle spices, I would go that way, because you want to slowly increase fire, because technically speaking the fire element is low, so you would like to slowly do it with spices. Simple freshly cooked meals, if you can do this. No desserts, no sugars. This is stimulation that is going to come from a sugar. If you're having poor stimulation that's coming from your own body, you don't add sugar on top of it. Allow your food to digest between meals. Be careful with dairy, y'all, because sometimes dairy can put too much stress on the intestines and stuff like that. But what I would suggest is something called bitter tonic. So like you could do golden seal and dandelion. Dandelion and golden seal, it can help with like healing. It can help move your lymph nodes. It can help with liver function. It can help moving toxins around. But these are bitter herbs, and so sometimes, like I told you, when people have motor function, sometimes the liver is too backed up, the lymph nodes are too backed up. There could be brain fog, people not really kind of like in la la land. Again, do not take these if you cannot. If you're fine with it and you can take them, or you can look up into some of these, then do it. You could take digestive herbs and mental stimulants, like again spices, ginger, cayenne, cumin, hot food, garlics, and onions. You can also deal with like nerve stimulants like pepper, tea, and coffee. But again, be careful with how much stimulants you have, because you're trying to gradually work up more technically dopamine or excitatory receptors in the body. So natural energy. You can also do purgatives, which could be something like aloe. So slowly building up things that help with circulation, help with blood flow. So caffeine, it makes the heart bump, it makes the heart move. Spices like cayenne, it helps. These are stimulating things. Black pepper is stimulating the bloodstream, but it's doing it in a very low grade dosage type of way. Peppers, anything like that. The air is low, and there's 2 objects in air, only one planet, because Venus just became direct. And this deals with Ketu, which would be the south node in Venus. And so there could be cognitive issues. As I said, some people just have brain fog and they just don't get it. So I wouldn't be shocked if y'all talking to people and it's like talking to a brick wall. Like they don't really get it. The cognition is low. And so again, keeping foods light, trying to do stimulating things naturally. Trying to avoid heavy foods. Beans could be good, because technically beans is considered like a fire food. But fasting could be good. I can see a lot of people trying to get into fasting, because fasting can offset sometimes some of the more earth placements, more heavier placements. So having small meals and frequent meals, even if you like, well, if you can swing this, I'm going to eat maybe lunch and then I'll eat this later, or I'll eat a small breakfast, I'll eat like a small lunch or whatever, to offset that, because sometimes people are getting bogged down with food, overeating, not letting the meals digest properly. But fasting could be good. Keep meals small and infrequent. Again, spices, herbs, again, stimulants, and sometimes astringents like raspberry tea leaves, which could be good for hormonal function, and it can keep some of stuff like PMS down if you can get it. And then you have high fire signs. So there's about 4 objects in the fire sign, but only one planet. And so this is a high dopamine, but from intense, painful, and emotional cues. So you have Chiron in the fire placement in Aries, Rahu or the North Node in Aries, and then Lilith in Leo. And so we're having very strong emotional subconscious cues that can cause deviant behavior, but not necessarily like in a upright stimulating way, which is why you want to do stuff that stimulates physical or excitatory energy naturally, and not because, you know, people coming at your neck, you getting into fights, you know, you're being hyper disagreeable, you know, stuff like that. So you're looking for things that naturally stimulate the body, gradually rising the dopamine and choline levels. So if you can eat eggs, if you can get quality meat, this will raise your choline level. There are some herbs that you can take to raise choline. There are some herbs that you can take to raise dopamine. Coffee can naturally raise dopamine, but I will not add too much sugar in it. If you can take it black, I would, because you want the excitatory herbs to rise naturally in the body without too much overstimulation. I wouldn't even drink that much coffee. You just need a little shot. There's some other herbs that you can do, but some of them, unless you know how to prepare them easily, they can be kind of overwhelming. But you can look, if you look up foods higher in choline, foods higher in dopamine, and this is transiting. Again, some of y'all charts are set up natally way different than what this transit is, so some of y'all are fine. But if you notice that you're catching like the end stick of all of this, it could be that your excitatory neurotransmitters or stimulants are lower. So not only do you have brain fog, you're having issues with reacting to things, and when you react, it's very beastly and out of control. You know, so you want to try to stimulate these things. So you're looking at foods that are spicy, or foods that are herb ridden, foods that are hot, also sour foods like lemon, yogurt within reason. These can help, again, stimulate the body, but try to keep foods light. Try to not eat too much, because there's a stimulation issue. Yes, you're reacting to things, but it's not in a way that is preferred. Okay? But fasting works. Taking your time with certain things, all of these things work. Any questions on the herbs? Any question on the diet, routine, making sure you get enough sleep? Any questions before I move on to something else? Because now we're about to start planning, and I'm about to start using your charts as an example. Okay, so let's see, because I'm about to scroll up to see who we have, because I still have I kind of would have to ask y'all some questions too in the chat. How about health changes that affect the bone? Okay, so technically Saturn is in Pisces right now. So that means that there could be some immuno health problems, or like your immune system could be having issues with bone health, because Saturn deals with structures and it deals with density. It's the most dense planet that we have in the whole lineup. So what could be happening is you could have issues with calcium deposits. You would ask questions like, do you have lead paint poisoning, or are you exposed to heavy metal poisoning frequently? So this can deal with like cadmium, things that are linked to like batteries, or like mundane things like lead, all types of stuff. And we're exposed to it all day, every day. So things that would help with bone health would be something like magnesium. Taking magnesium is helpful to bone health and also hormonal health. So magnesium, calcium. Are you getting enough calcium naturally? Do you need supplementation for calcium? Also D3. How much D3 are you taking? Because that will also fortify bone health. Because also a direct equivalent or link to that would be blood health. Because Pisces deals with white blood cells management, and also how it's set up. It's kind of like it really does do a lot for managing those things. So your allergies could be bad, your asthma could be bad. You could get very sick very easily. There could be issues with dental issues like your teeth, your bones, rheumatism, which means like body aches and pains, arthritis, stuff like that. So that's what I would suggest. If you're going to do that, you could take something like moringa, which is like a natural herb that you could take for supplementation to up those levels. You can also just take calcium. Also, there's some pills you could take that are like antacids that help with like heartburn, and if you flip them over, it's just straight up calcium. Now, I'm not saying Tums is that, because I think Tums has like some other dynamics in there, but if you go to Whole Foods and get like an antacid that helps with managing just stomach acid or acid reflux, when you flip it over, you'll see like it's literally just calcium. You could take that as a low-key supplement to bump your calcium levels. Also, going outside would raise your D3 levels. That will help your bone. And as far as in magnesium, if you're eating enough vegetables, you can get enough magnesium, but you might need more help. So then you probably could start taking magnesium. This would actually help with you going to sleep, you getting more rest, having less aches and pains, less anxiety, less stress. And honestly, the more you stress, the more your body leaks out magnesium anyway, so you have to constantly take it anyway, because the heartburn's been constant this week. Yeah, your calcium levels are low, so your bone health and heartburn or acid reflux is a direct reflection to how much calcium you have. So calcium is a herb that is a mineral that you need for digestion. So if you don't have enough calcium, you will have heartburn, but you also will have bone issues, and you will have nerve issues. You can be overly stimulated. You can have a lot of anxiety. You can have teeth issues. You can have bone issues. You can have heartburn. You can have digestive issues, because calcium, you need it for digestion as well. So Yemi, long as you can get you like some calcium, and a lot of times the blends have like calcium, magnesium, and D3 all blended together. So you could just pop one pill and be done with it. But as long as you get enough like herbs, vegetables, if you can handle dairy and the dairy's not like weird, like it's good dairy, like they not doing like weird stuff with it, then I would suggest you to take it. Like if you can get like a yogurt or something like that, I would take it. Because you're already in the thing with like bone and acid reflux. So the calcium is already significantly lower. You're already having digestive and bone health issues. It's too low. And I actually would probably think you would have even some forms of cognitive or memory issues as well. Because the things that rule the bones rule certain pituitary glands or hormonal functions in the brain. So there could be issues with time. Like time could be slipping away from you, or you feel like you don't have enough time. Issues with structure, working hard, stuff like that. But that just all because you just low on calcium. Okay? Any more questions before we move forward? And yes, you did spell moringa. Yeah, Gimme, you have a calcium issue. Actually, I'm kind of curious about your chart, but you definitely, it's calcium and magnesium. Eat as many vegetables you can that are dark and leafy that you like. I'm not telling you to eat stuff that you hate eating, because that's not going to help you either. That's just more stress. But if you can get as many dark leafy vegetables that are high, those are like high in magnesium, they're high in GABA. Take those, eat those, cook those. If you can get things that, if you don't like dairy, find you some calcium and magnesium supplements. This will help you get to sleep at night. Your nerves will be a lot calmer, and your teeth would be better. Your bones would be better. Because you can also have issues with like skin and hair too. Go outside and bake, because you black anyway. With a name like Yemi, you black. So go outside and sit in the sun. Try to get at least an hour or two of sun on a daily, because the D3 will perk you up. And if you can, I would suggest you to try some D3 supplementation as well. That's why your anxiety high. Sometimes y'all don't have behavioral problems. Sometimes y'all have a nutrition problem. Y'all might have to rework your diets. So go outside, eat some dark greens, take some magnesium, take some calcium, and then when you take something for that heartburn, make sure it's calcium based, you know. But take some calcium supplements, take some D3 supplements. Most of the time they're all blended together. You can get one that's all merged together. But yeah, you're having a nutrition deficiency right now. Any more questions on health? Any more questions on health? Because yeah, I do see in the charts like some people are going to have health issues because there's how the planets are set up. It will trigger health dynamics that you're going to have to focus on, especially dealing with Pisces and Virgo. That's not but health and diet. What we talking about? We're talking about the transits and how it deals with people's health issues, and Yemi is talking about how they're having some deficiencies right now, and it's definitely a bone issue. You can also I wonder if you might can also try possibly alfalfa too, like the plant alfalfa. You can get it from the store, you can eat it in a salad, but what alfalfa will do, it will help your body release any heavy metals that are naturally occurring there. Like they treat water and other things with alfalfa because alfalfa eats up all the heavy metals, but it will strip it out your body because you don't want heavy metals like cadmium, lead. These are not things that you want running around your body. So it'll strip it, but you're also going to need to fortify your body with calcium, because sometimes how the body is set up, there are certain points where, like instance, if you had lead paint poisoning or like cadmium, sometimes the body can't tell the difference between calcium and lead. So it's using lead as a building block. That's why it gets so deep in your bones, because it's using it as a building block, and it isn't. It's just poisonous. So it's like some Wolverine-ish. So you would really need to like kind of low-key detox, but also just start taking calcium to fortify the body, because you wanted to use that instead of whatever's going on with you. So you'll be fine there. Just as long as you can get the supplementation and start eating things like that are leafy and greens, like, you'll be fine. Topaz, we didn't even get to that. We was up here gagging about Reddit. Like, we was up here laughing because Digital B was going in on Shorty. It was funny. It was funny. We was in here gagging because I'm actually about to get started on here on the planning now, because I'm actually scrolling up to see anybody who offered their chart as tribute, so I can show y'all how to do it. And then I guess if they not up here, they can watch the playback, but I really would prefer y'all to be up here so that way I could ask y'all questions, so that way the planning, they can see like it as an example. Okay. All right. Good luck, Yemi. And again, if you have anybody has any questions about health, y'all could just slide them in real quick, because we actually about to just slide over to the charts. Nacho was laughing. Yes, we was laughing. It was funny. It was funny. But yeah, good luck, Yemi. Okay. I think yours, it's funny because I think yours was first too, Topaz. So of course you coming right back up here like a Scorpio. I mean, you could just give me a short summary so I can answer just real quick questions. It's like a had to been there moment, Topaz. You was just late. You went to school. It's okay.
Yeah, you gonna have to.
You just would have had to come.
You gonna have to listen back.
It's a had to been there. It's a had to been there moment.
But at least you did it for your education.
You're right. None like Shorty.
Not
Not like that girl. I'm like, woo. Thanks, B1. You're welcome, honey. But yeah, good luck. Good luck. You know. Good luck. All right. I can exit out of this without messing up nothing. Right?
Exit out of what?
This.
No, leave it up there.
Well, how I'm going to pull up a chart?
All right, minimize it. No, on that side. Yeah.
This side?
Yeah, minimize it. No, don't. No. No one to see the. Yeah, now open it up. Yeah. Yep.
Girl.
Because I don't want to watch and looking into the back of the screen of the actual what's on it.
I was going to make a dirty joke, but I'm not.
Nah, it's not because I got porn on it. It's just that.
No, but it's still funny. All right. Okay, so I'm going to start with Topaz and we'll just work our way through. And then we'll just keep running through. We'll be running through people and we'll work our way through that as well. Topaz, you would put your stuff up here. No location, no
I'll
nothing.
set the location again later.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay, I see it. Okay. Can you guys see this? Just making sure you guys can see it because it's okay. Cool. Great. Okay, so Topaz has elected to offer himself as tribute. So what we're going to start with, we're going to start from Sunday and we're going to work our way down to Saturday. Again, I will be going down through the list from everyone who posted themselves as tribute. Hopefully y'all are still in the chat just in case I have to. You said it's a little blurry. A little blurry. Can you see it from your thing? And it's not blurry?
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
It's clear to me.
It's clear to you?
Yeah.
Okay, so Topaz has bad service.
Topaz's service is bad. But you can link him the site.
Okay. Okay. I'm on this site. I'm going to just post this in here real quick. Okay, so we're going to work our way from Sunday and work our way back down. So As you can see, based off of this chart, Topaz is a Scorpio sun, and we know that the sun is the first planet in the week. And so because it's the first planet in the week, it deals with who we are at our core, vitality, consciousness, vision. Topaz has his sun in the 12th house. The 12th house deals with escapism. It deals with creativity. But I'm yet to get my mom to confirm my birth time. Okay, hold on, Yemi. We're going to slide back over to that because there are certain things that you can do, but it's kind of investigation, like on an investigation leaning. So after we do Topaz, we'll just talk about it, and this will be helpful for anyone who wants to ever get their chart read and they just don't have the time, because you can try to ballpark it, but you would have to really investigate. So Yemi, we'll come back around to that, but we're going to start with Topaz. So yes, it deals with who you are at your core, vitality, consciousness, who we consciously are. Well, Topaz is interesting because his is in his 12th house, and 12th house deals with escapism, things that are secret. So that means that this person has secret visions, secret vitality, secret energy. So yes, this deals with like getting back to who we are in essence, but it's in his 12th house, and so it deals with hidden desires, hidden identities, escapism, possibly how can I say, secret enemies, so you see where it, even during the thing where it talks about getting back to who you are, something about where Topaz, if he plans on a Sunday, it would have to be in secret. So any type of vision he has for himself, identities, hidden passions, all of it is secret. So if he starts on Sunday, it would have to fall under this. Do y'all get what I'm saying? Topaz is not a person who can sit up on YouTube and talk about their dreams with people. That's what this is telling us. So some people can't tell nobody stuff. Like, how some people can be like, oh my God, I'm about to get married, or I'm just about to go do this thing. No, some people's charts aren't really built like that because they have more secret dynamics. So on Sundays, it will have to lean towards this. And honestly, any type of themes revolving around who we are, getting recognition, who we are at our core, even romance, because the sun could deal with certain acts of like romance, or it would be in secret. And it could also be that he would have to escape these things. So you see how this is different. I didn't even start talking about other people's sun placements, but you see how who he is at his core is different from whatever y'all have, because y'all are different sun signs. So he already on his own little unique path. This is what I'm saying about planning for your week and what you have to do to get on it. So any type of vision he has for himself, how he wants to connect back to himself and on his core plans, he can't tell nobody. This would be like if he had a vision board and never told nobody. That's what this would look like. Just can't tell nobody. So the 12th house deals with solitude. So anything that deals with these types of things, he has to do in solitude or by himself, away from others. Because he has secret enemies. Because it's the 12th house, things can be exploited easily. So he could come up with an idea and someone could steal it, or someone can exploit it, or he can get back to center with himself and it could trigger enemies. So whatever he has that's valuable, that's associated with his identity, he cannot tell anyone. If he wants to restore his energy, because like the sun deals with how much vitality and energy we have, which a Scorpio is pretty good because it's very dense and even though it's a water sign, it's dense, it's kind of like boiling water as opposed to Pisces and Cancer, which is just like cold, cooler water. But all of this drive and ambition he has to keep to himself. Sexuality have to keep to himself. You cannot tell anyone. And because it looked like it's conjunct Ketu or by Ketu or the South Node, this could be what happened karmically. And also because his sun is in the South, in the 12th house, this could do with maybe that when he does have ideas or strong visions of who he is or who he has as his core, it can be easily eroded. So he can lose self boundaries with himself. So like, I have my own identity, but if I hang around enough people, I can lose my identity. That's why anything that helps me connect back to myself, I can't tell anyone. Which is ironic because we're kind of doing yours right now, but you know, just for future reference, Topaz, like, keep things on lock. Like, that's why it actually helps that you shy. Like, you're not supposed to really be like out there like that, because the natural inclination don't really like that. And also because sometimes the 12th house can also have you lined up to be a victim somewhere. So because it's a 12th house, you can be caught in a spell, glamour, not seeing things clearly. So it's interesting because, like, again, the sun deals with vision. So you can easily be knocked off of your path from seeing things clearly. So when we have Sundays and you're coming up with plans for the week, gotta keep it to yourself. There's a lot of things about myself I keep to myself. Yes, keep to yourself. So when you have ideas, tell nobody nothing. Sexuality, dreams, yes, yep, tell no one. No one know who you dating. I don't see Topaz with nobody. Oh my gosh, I have another Reddit story, but I can't because I promise y'all would get into this. And it's a couple of y'all in here, but y'all will be gagging.
Next time.
It would have to be a next time.
Because BMORE gonna be wrapping up the stream soon.
It would be gagging, but but you see where we're getting into this. So the next one is Monday, the sleeping star. Well, Monday is in his 9th house, so it deals with faith. It deals with information, knowledge. So on a Monday, these could deal with things that emotionally feeling free, wanting to feel free, emotionally, or on like a mental level, like conditioning, dealing with faith, religion, what you know, legal issues, dealing with things that are unfamiliar. So Monday, even though it's a day of cycles or rest, you could deal with things that are unfamiliar. And if you look back, you could have Mondays where it's always out of sorts somewhere. Always out of sorts somewhere. And it works for you because it looks like your Jupiter conjuncts the moon. So it does benefit you somewhere to try to create order from things that you're not familiar with. And that's on Mondays. So if you do stuff on Mondays where it's like, okay, I'm organizing things that they not really in check, they're kind of out of order, blah, 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 it could benefit you because that's what the moon naturally wants to do anyway. It wants to run errands. It wants to regulate. And it will do it on an unconscious level. So whether it's like math, organizing, dealing with diet, health, routine, it wants to. So if you want to start anything new like that, start studying or any type of like Virgo like things that are foreign to you, because the 9th house is things that we're not used to that are foreign to us. And you know what's interesting? Because your sun is ruled by Mars, your Mars is in the 3rd house, which deals with things that you're used to. So the things that you're used to or you have on lock, it seems like action wise, you should keep that hidden to a certain extent, versus like emotionally, like things that are foreign to you can be more catapulted publicly. Like, people can see things that you're not familiar with, and it's okay. Like, it's weird, but that's what you would do on a Monday. On a Tuesday, you deal with Mars. So Mars, again, deals with Pisces. It's in the 3rd house. So this could deal with secret. It could deal with secret enemies, but it could, because it's a Mars thing, it could deal with like information or physically running errands, doing things that you're familiar with, things that you're comfortable with on an unconscious level. A true Jupiter stellium individual. Yes. Yeah. Doing things that you are familiar with on an unconscious level that you don't think about. Exploring things that you're familiar with. Dealing with siblings. Also, because it's your 3rd house, it means that you can dealing with secret enemies or people who don't like you, or friends as enemies and enemies as friends, is what is familiar with you. You're used to meeting people who are flaky. Or weird. Something's up with them. Dealing with open rivals, competitors. So you would do that on a Tuesday. Also, you would have secret weapons. Someone who has something up their sleeve all the time. Big sneaky chart energy. You have a sneaky chart. But it works for you because this is how the energy naturally goes. See? So, you okay? Mm-hmm. Wednesday, which is the day of Mercury, or arguing of being of use, that is in Sagittarius, but it's still in the 12th house. So maybe hiding how useful you are, hiding how good at things you are, hiding communication, secret communication, whispering, things you tell no one, secrets. But it's weird because it's like secrets that are also the truth. Secrets that you have faith in, or communication that is like very faithful communication, but it's also a secret. So it's kind of like a riddle. It's like, what is true, but also manipulated, that you don't know what's happening. It's kind of like that.
Also, he's a little sneaky thing.
He's a sneaky baby.
I mean, even his avatar and stuff, he's a little sneaky thing. But I will also say what I see here in his chart is fortune is in Virgo, and then he has Jupiter in Virgo. Now, Jupiter in any way being connected to fortune is actually considered positive. So we know that Virgo's ruler is Mercury, but Mercury's in Sagittarius, and then Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So this is someone who can get fortune in career through Virgo principles, but also how it's expanded as well with Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius, because Mercury's in Sagittarius. Also, so meeting other people, foreigners, travel.
That's
right.
On a Monday, if I meet someone that I don't know, it's great.
And that's why education, like he's studying and like what he's doing is good as well, like staying in school. But yeah, like I just wanted just to bring that up real quick because I saw his fortune was in it looks like it's connected to his MC in the 10th house, and then it's ruled by Mercury, which is in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. And is his Jupiter conjunct to his moon?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah.
Things he's not familiar with. Like you're really good at dealing with stuff that you're not familiar with. You actually get more blessings from that. Because your ascendant is in Sag, even who you are can be unfamiliar. Hold on. I'm not gonna lie though, you do have some placements for I'm gonna be honest, like you got some whole placements, but I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm gonna leave you alone because I said ooh.
just to give people some encouragement. Just because you have whole placements don't mean you're going to cheat on your spouse or spouses or whatever your personal life, however it's set up. It doesn't mean you're going to be a cheater. Now, do keep in mind for my people who believe in reincarnation, if you reincarnated for thousands of years, you're going to have a lot of past life lovers. What you need to focus on, though, is who serves your highest purpose for this particular reincarnation. That help you to not get caught up.
I agree.
There you go, BMORE.
But yeah, so dealing with things that you're not familiar with is so beneficial for you. So as long as you try to remember that and then try to plan according to where they at, where these planets are and what they're doing, right? So notice, like, on Tuesdays you can deal with things that you're not familiar with, get a lot of luck. When you dealing with things that, not on Tuesdays, on Mondays, on Tuesdays on your Mars, when you're dealing with things that you're familiar with or running errands or things that are in your wheelhouse, you have to deal with things that you're familiar with, whether it's like running errands, dealing with relatives, siblings. You have to be sneaky with it because there's a lot of weird aggression issues. Because it's also like Uranus is in your third house, so there's a lot of up and downs in your daily life. So for things to go smoothly and people not cause so much drama and trouble, because you do have Saturn in the seventh, your Mars is in Pisces, do things on a slick and on the low, because it actually keep people out your business. So when you like, oh, I have to go to the doctors, I told no one, I went, blah blah. To be successful in some of these daily routine tasks, like I went to the grocery store, I didn't tell nobody. Every time you tell somebody something you about to do and it seems mundane, here comes somebody raggedy, starting trouble, trying to knock you off your block. All this drama kind of ensues.
Can you show the minor aspects as well? Because I just also want to add for him, because he has Virgo in part of fortune near his MC. That means being of service to the public is good luck for him. And this is what we said about, like, some people be like, man, my Jupiter's in Virgo, that sucks, or my Venus is in Virgo, that sucks. No, it depends on how your chart is set up. So because you have part of fortune in Virgo, it means that being of service is good luck, especially that Jupiter is in Virgo, and even your moon is conjunct to Jupiter as well. So I'm just saying that's a good thing for him. So if you do things, if you serve the public, do something of service, you'll get good luck.
Okay, so you want me to hit what? Semi-sextile, quincunx, all of them, or just a few?
If his fortune was connected to anything.
All right, I'm gonna hit quincunx.
Oh, right here. There we go. I'm sorry. I should have said aspected too.
Okay.
Oh, there. Yeah, that's what I meant. I wanted to see this because I'm just.
Well, then
curious.
take these off.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna take those off.
Yeah.
I just want to be curious because I know, like, if he's supposed to be of service in the public. Oh, okay. So it is.
Helps his Lilith. You see that? It's a wedge.
Let's put this bigger.
Right here. It's going up. He's funny. You see, it's also good for here.
It's good for his sun and his South Node in Scorpio.
When being sneaky works.
But he has to do it again for the service of the public.
People.
Whatever you have Scorpio as, where you're supposed to keep hidden in plain sight.
That is true. Yeah, you gotta keep things on the low. I've had the urge to, when I'm about to talk about something, I plan on doing it, I instead just don't talk about it at all. Yeah, don't. Bad luck. That's not your thing. There are some girls that be like, everyone, thank you for following me on my journey. We all went through it together. Blah, blah, blah. No, that's not you. That's not you. Because you start talking about your hopes and dreams, it activate haters. Like, they just come out like, I'm here to be opposition. I'm like, oh, sweetie, no.
Yeah, like you.
Oh, sweetie, no.
You have to plan on your own, Topaz, like, or with your whoever you trust. Just make sure there's people that you can actually trust them. But when you set up plans to serve the public, you should not announce things until it's ready. So let's say you working on doing a food drive. You know, you're not announcing it to the world, or until it's ready to be announced, because you can have people who may try to sabotage it or convince you that it's a stupid idea. But no, being of service to the public is really good for you. So make sure You figure out during your free time how can you be of service to the public, whether it's helping the homeless or donated to kids. Just try to figure out something that works for you that you actually enjoy.
And you know what's funny? When I look at your chart, it's something about slandering people or people slandering you that work. I know that sound weird, but like you could like, I'm out the straight lie and slander someone and it be like, it worked. But it's only like, cause it's a of service type of thing. So like if you try to rearrange somebody, like I gotta get knocked them out the frame because they doing too much, right? And you kind of set up a whole. That's why I said when I look at some people chart, I'm like, oh, you real sneaky. Because I remember looking at your chart for the first time. I said, oh, this is a sneaky motherfucker. But yeah, like real Carmen San Diego ish, 007 spy, government operative energy, James Bond, Jonisha Bond. But yeah, like you could like lie on someone or do some trickster ish, and it kind of like work for you. Like, yeah, you can knock someone kind of like out the frame. But yeah, very messy chart. Very messy. All right, so where we at? We on Mercury. Okay, so that's Wednesday. Thursday, Jupiter. Okay, so having to work hard to integrate knowledge, faith. I know sometimes it seems like you have something where you could struggle with a sense of faith or kind of being happy-go-lucky, because it's almost like a very dense realism or like a dense way you look at life. I'm not saying like you Eeyore or a Debbie Downer or anything, but there's a way that you feel internally that really doesn't seem that way outwardly to other people. And I feel like you could be like a very harsh realistic person, but it could also mean that you have to work hard at integrating things at life or merging things together into existing structures. So sometimes it is a bit hard for you to feel happy-go-lucky because you have to work so hard at things. Yeah, maybe I work in psychology. I've always had a semi-interest that could work. That could work. But also because it's Virgo, you could deal with writing. Like if you just keep researching it, there's a general vibe that you could be successful in. Because Sag does deal with publication. It does deal with faith. It does deal with foreign interest, travel, forms of astrology. Virgo deals with writing, math, analyzing things. You could be a psychologist. It could work, especially with the sun there, your Mars there, and Virgo there. It could work with you being really well at psychology. But as you see, like there's a thing of like struggling to be happy-go-lucky. But on the Thursdays, long as you work hard to integrate things into existing structures, unite things and make things equal, you'll be fine. And it's usually working hard to make things of use or purpose there. So like for instance, on Thursdays, I do notice when I go live, you go to school. I have class today, then I have to come here to study, what's going on with my chart, and then I go here, then I go there. That's a lot of running around, and you are working hard to integrate information because your Mercury is in the 12th house and it's conjunct your ascendant. So you're physically working hard, running around trying to learn something or integrate information into your brain. So that is benefic for you. Because you're one of those people who's like, dang, I worked so hard. I wasn't good at this topic, or I wasn't good at school, and I really had to bust my ass and all this other stuff. It really does work for you. Because I know some people like, I worked hard and I didn't get nothing for it. Some of your charts is not about working hard. I'm going to be for real. Like some of y'all don't have work hard. Some of y'all have, it's the easy way, but that doesn't mean it's whack though. It's just what you have to learn how to deal with. Okay, so that's Thursday. Friday we have Venus, so that's the first house. So Venus deals with like popularity. It deals with humanity and balance. So on Fridays you could be trying to balance your health, balance out what you learned that day because it's in Sag, balance out your sense of faith, or just having fun, or just having a more enjoyable, lighter time. That's what you would have to balance out. Okay. Also letting yourself, kind of like letting your hair down and letting you enjoy certain things as well. So whether it's travel, knowledge, dealing with more fun, frivolous things, getting outside of yourself. Let's see, that's Friday. Saturday, Saturn, that would deal with other people and trying to restrict their emotional needs, their clinginess, certain forms of like them trying to merge or doing homogeny with you. You would have to try to restrict that, and it can be overwhelming because Saturn is in detriment in Cancer, but Saturn is also the ruler of your second house, so it opposes your Chiron, so resources being of use. So like maybe people emotionally dump on you on Saturdays, so you would have to pay attention to that. You might have to restrict how much interaction you have with other people on a Saturday because it's in your 7th house. It could also possibly be restricting diet or what you eat. And then you could go right back into a Sunday about planning in secret. So you see how like his planning would be very specific to how his chart is. Yep, had 3 classes a day, about to go to my 4th. Yeah, as long as you work hard, you'll be fine. Because that's the point. If you do that on Thursday, it actually works for you. So sometimes people schedule things on days that don't work. That's why you're struggling. Okay, so I'm about to answer some of your questions. So I think Yemi had a question. Let's see. I want to get a reading done. I'm waiting for my mom to confirm. I don't want to get an inaccurate reading because I feel like it's time to check and be well informed. Okay, so Yemi, this is what I would suggest you to do. Try to figure out what day you were born of the week because that matters. Try to ask your family as many details as you can about when you were born. So if they say, oh, it was nighttime, that helps you to pinpoint as much as you can. So I'll use Topaz's chart as an example. Notice his sun is in the 12th house. That means that it was daytime when he was born. So he has a day chart. If it was nighttime, like around 3 a.m., his sun would be where his Mars is in Pisces in the 3rd house down at the bottom where I'm swirling around. This is where it would be. That is a very different chart, and that is a very different thing. His ascendant would be much different. So if you notice how all of this stuff from at the bottom where this black line is to where this black line is, because he knew he was born in the morning, even he said I was born in the morning, from the bottom part of this would be naturally excluded during the day because all of these times from Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, and even Gemini, that would be parts of Gemini, it would be excluded because there's no way that he could be born during the daytime and have those ascendants because those ascendants were applicable at night. So just even knowing if you were born during the day, it leaves you up with at least 6 of the zodiacs for your rising sign. So that's step 1. Step 2, if Topaz said, hey, I was born during the morning, okay, so from his ascendant right here, if you just follow my little clicker on the screen where it's in Sag to this black line in his ascendant, this is like from about 7 a.m. to noon. Afternoon or 12 p.m., we're starting to get into 1 a.m., 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 again down here. So from Sag right here up until Virgo, like the beginning parts of Virgo, that would leave us about 3 to 4 zodiac signs to try to narrow down with his ascendant. You see how much less trouble that is? So this is what the technique is called, rectification. So you could try to rectify your chart, but it will start to dwindle down zodiac options. You get closer and closer. So even he said I was born during the morning, I don't know when, so it would not be after Virgo, it wouldn't be over here where his moon and Jupiter was, and it wouldn't be down here where his Venus is. So this leaves us Sag, Scorpio, Libra. We would have those to try to guess from based off of details about his life, personality, possibly physical appearances and any type of physical illness or behaviors or psychological trigger points that he would tell us about who you are, or who he is. For this instance, Topaz, who he is as a person. So like Topaz says, he's shy and secretive. It makes sense that his sun would be in the 12th house versus the 11th, because the 11th house is social. So Topaz is secretive about a lot of things. He's very shy. That makes sense for the 12th house. It doesn't make sense for the 10th. It doesn't make sense for the 11th, and it doesn't really make sense for the 10th either, because that also means he would get a lot of public recognition, which he, personality wise, he does not like that. The person is shy, and the behaviors indicate shyness or seclusion. So that already dwindles down. It's putting it more down here. It's a rough ballpark, but you could get very close. Do you see what I'm saying? So these are just some techniques to try to dwindle, because this is literally time sensitive. So if you say 7 a.m. to 12 noon, it leaves the 12th house, the 11th house, and the 10th house open for interpretation, and then we would have to investigate or work our way back. If you say you were born in the evening or at night, it would be the descendant point here, and this right here at the bottom, this black line right here, that's midnight. So were you born at night before midnight, or were you born at night after midnight in the early hours? Then we would start investigating. But you see how it limits how many zodiac signs you can have as rising? Like, you're getting very specific now. You can start to investigate. Might not be perfect, but close as hell. Let's see. Can a doctor confirm your birth time? Yes, you can get a doctor to confirm your birth time. You can get your birth certificate. Also, I know there's some people who are adopted or have sealed records. You can write in, this is in America, so if you're not in America, I'm really not sure about the laws where you are, but if this is applicable, try. You can write your senator or your representative to say, hey, I'm adopted, or my medical records are sealed. My birth certificate is sealed, and I want the time on there. I would like you to release them to me. I've seen people write into like Congress members to get their information. That does work. Also, you can get medical records. If you get your medical records, sometimes you can get it off of there, and sometimes you can get the long form birth certificate, and it's not the same thing. Sometimes it's a bit different, but you want the long form formal birth certificate, and you can get it from there. Also, if your parents were into like baby books, that is cool. Anything that could tell you about the story of your birth. So if they say, hey, I got a haircut, okay, now we're talking about daytime hours. That's specifically around business. So that still ballparks with how you can, like, okay, it's a business, it's open during daytime. If they said, girl, we was at a party and I was at the club, come on now, you probably like at night, 3 a.m. energy. You see what we're getting into? Or like, hey, you were born right after I got off of work, and I used to get off of work around 11. You're getting close. So you want to try to ballpark as much as you can. And I also understand, like, technically a lot of Western countries or some of these countries have more privilege in the sense, like, people document your birth, so it's easier. But this is what you would have to do. You have to start investigating. I see what you're saying. Good. I'm glad you see. But as long as you can start to do that, you can start to dwindle. So if they say I'm born at night, oh, perfect. That leaves about 6 zodiac signs, but it's better than nothing. And then they say, okay, was it before midnight or after midnight? Thanks for answering my questions. Not a problem. But if you're not in the States, I don't know if you can write your representative to give you the information and release your files like that. You can also try your medical records. All right. See you, Topaz. Okay. Hold on real quick, guys. All right. So, because we're already at let me see something real quick. I think we're already at the 3-hour mark. We're going to do a part 2 because I don't think the planning is over. So we'll do a part 2. And anybody with investigation questions, feel free to ask. But anyone who's donated their information to be used for people to study charts for investigation, we'll definitely use them. I would prefer y'all to be in the chat, but we'll use them for part 2, because we'll come back with part 2, because I'm gonna be here next week. But that's what we'll do. So anyone who wants to use their chart as an example of how to plan or what to do on specific days, that's very specific to them and why it looks different, then yeah. Okay, any more questions before I get up out of here? Any more questions? All right, guys. So this slideshow is going to be on the Patreon. Y'all can download it from there. I'm going to put last week's on there because I forgot to put it on there. If you guys would like a reading, please you can hit my phone number. It's in the description box. You can hit my email for people who are foreign and you might can't use the number. You can always email me. Feel free to join my Patreon. I put all my notes up there. Again, this will be up here so y'all can rewatch it again for your ascendant signs. Next week we'll still go over planetary planning, because I get it is overwhelming. It can be a lot of moving parts because it's very dependent on your personal chart, because you can start to really get tight and activate what you naturally have. But yeah, anyone else who wanted to use their chart as an example for the class or the chat to learn the difference, some of y'all might have similar placements. So if y'all have similar placements, y'all might can troubleshoot with that. But, you guys be blessed. Make sure you guys take care of your health. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.